Right now, cremation is chosen over traditional burial by more than half of all families in the United States. In Japan, that number is over 99%. It's become the most common way humanity handles its dead. And yet, if you asked most people what actually happens inside that chamber, not the vague idea, but the real step-by-step process, almost nobody can answer. That's strange, because for something so inevitable, so deeply human, we know surprisingly little about it. Today that changes. So what actually happens? From the moment a person passes away to the moment a family receives an urn, what does that process look like? It begins before anyone touches a cremation chamber. When a person dies, their body is transported to a funeral home or crematory. And before anything else happens, paperwork, cremation is legally irreversible. Once the process begins, there is no going back. Because of this, the legal requirements surrounding cremation are strict and carefully enforced. A death certificate must be filed, permits must be obtained. In most jurisdictions, a mandatory waiting period exists, typically 24 to 48 hours, to allow time for legal verification that no foul play was involved. Family members must sign formal consent documents. Every body that enters a crematory is assigned a metal identification tag, a small heat-resistant disc that stays with the remains throughout the entire process. This tag ensures that what goes in matches exactly what comes out. The system exists precisely because cremation leaves no room for error. Once the legal requirements are satisfied, the body is prepared. Jewelry and personal items are removed and returned to the family. Any medical implants, and this is critical, must be identified and removed before cremation begins. Pacemakers, in particular, contain batteries that can explode violently under extreme heat. Joint replacements, metal rods, surgical pins, all of these must be cataloged and handled separately. The body is then placed in a cremation container. This is not necessarily a traditional casket. Most cremation containers are simple, made from wood, cardboard, or other combustible materials. They're designed to burn cleanly and completely, providing a respectful enclosure without unnecessary expense or waste. Then comes the chamber itself, called a retort. A retort is lined with heat-resistant bricks and operates at temperatures between 1,400 and 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. To put that in perspective, that's hot enough to melt aluminum, hot enough that the interior glows orange. The chamber uses natural gas or propane to generate and maintain that heat. Once the body is placed inside and the door is sealed, the process begins. In the first stage, the extreme heat rapidly eliminates soft tissue, skin, muscle, organs. This happens faster than most people would expect. What takes nature months or years underground happens here in a matter of minutes. The bones take longer. As the temperature climbs and sustains, the skeletal structure begins to calcify, the organic components burning away, leaving behind the mineral structure of the bone itself. This stage typically takes between 1 and 3 hours, depending on the size and density of the individual. Throughout this process, an operator monitors the chamber carefully. The goal is consistent, complete cremation, and maintaining the right temperature throughout is essential to achieving that. When the process is complete, the chamber cools, and what remains is not, as many people imagine, fine gray ash. What remains are bone fragments, larger pieces of calcified skeletal material ranging in size from small chips to several inches in length, white and gray in color, dry and brittle. These fragments are carefully removed from the chamber. Any metal that remains, surgical screws, joint replacements, dental fillings, is separated out using magnets and manual inspection. This metal is typically recycled through specialized programs. The bone fragments are then placed into a machine called a cremulator. This device, essentially a specialized processor, grinds the fragments into the fine, uniform powder that families recognize as cremated remains. The result typically weighs between 3 and 7 pounds for an adult, depending on bone density and body size. It's placed into a temporary container, then transferred into whatever urn the family has selected. From death to earn. The entire process typically takes between 2 and 3 days when accounting for legal requirements and preparation. The cremation itself takes 2 to 3 hours. Every step from the identification tag to the final transfer is documented. Nothing in this process is casual. Everything is deliberate, careful, and legally accountable. Drop your answer in the comments, because this is one of those questions where the answers reveal something genuinely surprising about how different people think about life, legacy, and what we leave behind. Understanding the process doesn't diminish that. If anything, it deepens it. If this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories like this one, and I'll see you in the next one.